Hello students, today we will be doing the chapter The Little Girl, which is written by Catherine Mansfield. Now the title of the story, The Little Girl, it refers to the main character. She is a little girl whose name is Kezia. And the theme of this story is the relationship between children and their parents. And our writer wants to tell us that children, they share a very important bond with their parents, okay? And although when children are small, when they're young, they do not feel sometimes that the parents love them, because at times the parents are strict with them, and we feel the parents are unjustified. And especially at your age that you all are, you must be feeling that your parents are unnecessarily strict with you, whether it might be going out with friends, or watching too much TV, or using a lot of mobile. But when your parents tell you no for something, they actually mean good, right? So when you grow up, when children grow up, they realize that all the acts that were done by their parents, they were beneficial for them, and the parents were actually concerned for them. And though they were strict, behind that strictness was a heart full of love for their own children. And this bond of love between parents and the children has been highlighted through this story. To the little girl, he was a figure to be feared and avoided. Every morning before going to work, he came into her room and gave her a casual kiss, to which she responded with, "Goodbye, father." So he was a figure to be feared here, means Kezia's father, and little girl is Kezia over here. And it shows that Kezia was quite scared of her father. But it also shows that before going to work, every morning he would come into her room and give her a kiss. This shows that Kezia's father actually loved her also. And oh, there was a glad sense of relief when she heard the noise of the carriage growing fainter and fainter down the long road. So she would be very relaxed when she would hear that the carriage was going away from them, because the noise was getting fainter and fainter. The carriage, you know that carriages are like horse carts, which usually mean for people to go from one place to another. They're a means of conveyance in the olden times, when we didn't have cars and autos and rickshaws and all those things. So we had a horse cart, right? And the writer says that when Kezia heard that the father's carriage was going away from home as he was leaving, because the sound was becoming fainter and fainter, she would feel relieved that the father has gone. Why? Because she was quite scared of her father. So she was happy that he had gone. In the evening when he came home, she stood near the staircase and heard his loud voice in the hall. So when he would come, she would hear his loud voice, and then again she would be scared. "Bring my tea into the drawing room. Hasn't the paper come yet? Mother, go and see if my paper's out there, and bring me my slippers." So as soon as he would come home, he would ask, order for stuff. He would be ordering everybody as though he is the master and others are servants, right? Go bring my tea, go bring my newspaper. Mother, go and see my newspaper whether it has come or not. Go bring my slippers also. Kezia, mother would call to her, "If you are a good girl, you can come down and take off father's boot." So Kezia's mother would call her and tell her to come and take out your father's boots also. And just to make her obey, she would say that if she was a good girl, then only she will obey her command. Because if you are good, then only you will listen to your parents. Otherwise, you will not. Slowly the girl would slip down the stairs, more slowly still across the hall, and push open the drawing room. So she would come down, but not very happily. Quietly and unwillingly she would come down, because she was scared of the father. By the time he had his spectacles on and looked at over them in a way that was terrifying to the little girl. Now you can just imagine that Kezia's father is sitting in the drawing room on a sofa. He's wearing his spectacles. He's looking at Kezia over the spectacles. And now the way that he looked at her, it would terrify her. Terrify means scare her very badly, terribly, okay? She was very, very scared. "Well, Kezia, hurry up and pull off these boots and take them outside. Have you been a good girl today?" Now Kezia was reluctant. She didn't want to take off the boots. And the father would tell her, "Hurry up, remove your boots, remove my boots." And then he would ask her that if she had been a good girl today, means, "Have you done any mischief today?" "I don't know, father." And Kezia would reply that she doesn't know. And she would stammer. You know what is stammering? What I did just now, don't. Okay, she was not clear in her speech. But this thing was not with others. It was only with her father, because she was scared of her father. "You don't know? If you stutter like that, mother will have to take you to the doctor." So stutter means again stammer, to speak while taking pauses. And now the father would copy her, like make fun of her, like how she would stutter and stammer. And he would say to her that if you don't speak properly, your mother will have to take you to the doctor. She never stuttered with other people, had quite given it up, but only with father, because then she was trying so hard to say the words properly. So earlier she would stammer, but then she had stopped stammering because now she was okay. But now whenever she would talk to her father, she would lack that confidence. Why? Because she was trying very hard to please her father, to make sure the father is happy with her. And because of that, she would stammer again. Like, it usually happens. We know how to speak properly, but when we are in front of certain people whom we are scared of, or with whom we want to impress the most, we would make mistakes there only. And that's what was happening with Kezia as well. What's the matter? Why are you looking so wretched about? Mother, I wish you taught this child not to appear on the brink of suicide. Here, Kezia, tearing my teacup back to the table carefully. Now, Kezia's father would look at her and he feels that something is wrong with her. And he would ask her, why is she so unhappy? And then he tells her mother that I wish that you taught Kezia how to behave in a better way, so that she doesn't appear so unhappy that she's about to end her life, about to commit suicide. Because all the time she looks like this only, that she's going to go and commit suicide. So that should not be the case. She should look happy. So he wants to say that Kezia seems very unhappy with her life and she does not want to live any longer. Then he tells her, take my cup and take it back to the table very carefully. He was so big, his hands and his neck, especially his mouth when he yawned. Thinking about him alone was like thinking about a giant. Now she had this feeling, this vision that Kezia had for her father. She always feels that her father is very big. He's just like a giant. She feels that his hand and his neck and his mouth are very huge, and it seemed as if the father is a huge monster, okay, a huge giant. On Sunday afternoons, grandmother sent her down to the drawing room to have a nice talk with father and mother. So on Sunday afternoons, when the father would be free after his office and everything, that would be his holiday, grandmother would send her down to the drawing room. Go and have a talk with your parents. Go get to know them nice, decent way and all. But the little girl always found mother reading and father stretched out on the sofa, his handkerchief on his face, his feet on one of the best cushions, sleeping soundly and snoring. And now Kezia feels a bit neglected, because every time that she went to meet her parents in the drawing room and have a nice talk with them, they were always busy doing their own things. Mother was busy reading, father was busy sleeping and snoring. Okay, and this is the kind of image that she has in her mind of her parents. They did not talk to her, they did not spend time with her, and they were busy doing their own thing. She sat on a stool, gravely watched him until he woke and stretched and asked the time, then looked at her. So all this time, the father was asleep. She would just sit on a stool and watch him carefully till the time he would wake up, stretch his body and ask the time and look at her. Don't stare so, Kezia, you look like a little brown owl. And then father would compare Kezia to a little brown owl, and he would say that she was staring at him just like an owl does. One day, when she was kept indoors with a cold, her grandmother told her that father's birthday was next week and suggested she should make him a pin cushion for a gift out of a beautiful piece of yellow silk. Now, this particular day, Kezia was not well, she had a cold, and so she was supposed to stay at home only. And then the grandmother suggested that why doesn't she make a gift for her father's birthday, because the father's birthday was next week. So she asked Kezia, can you make a pin cushion for him, and gave her a yellow colored fabric of silk also to make the cushion. Laboriously, with a double cotton, the little girl stitched 3 sides. So with a lot of effort, laboriously means with a lot of labor, with a lot of effort, she stitched the 3 sides. But what to fill it with? That was the question. Now she had prepared the outer cover of the bag. Now inside what to put? She has to put something, like we put cotton and feathers and all those things. Now what to fill the cushion with? The grandmother was out in the garden and she wandered into mother's bedroom to look for scraps. So she just went into the mother's bedroom to look for anything, unwanted piece of cloth or unwanted piece of paper that was not needed. So she was a little confused. So she just went to her mother's bedroom to find something. On the bed table, she discovered a great many sheets of fine paper, gathered them up, tore them into tiny pieces and stuffed her case, then sewed up the 4th side. So what she found that on the bed table, there were a few sheets of fine paper. She took them all together, tore them into tiny pieces, and kept her in her case in that cupboard that she had made, and sewed up the fourth side also. Alright. That night, there was a hue and cry in the house. Father's great speech for the Port Authority had been lost. So suddenly there was crying and shouting going on in the house. And what was lost? Father's great speech for the Port Authority. Now, can you guess where is the father's great speech for the Port Authority? Well, you must be guessing right, children. Rooms were searched, servants questioned. Finally, mother came into Kezia's room. And then who came into Kezia's room? The mother. Because everybody else was questioned except Kezia. And so the mother had come to Kezia's room to find out where the sheets of paper had gone. Kezia, I suppose you didn't see some papers on a table in her room. So Kezia's mother asked her that did she see some papers lying on a table in her mother's room? Oh yes, she said. I tore them up for my surprise. Now, we don't know what those papers were for, and Kezia was an innocent girl. She had no idea. She was just preparing a birthday gift, and so very nicely, innocently, she tells her mother, yes, I wanted to prepare a surprise gift for my father, so that's why I had done that. But she does not know what a great disaster she had made up. What? Screamed mother. Come straight down to the dining room this instant. Now she was so angry, Kezia's mother, that she told Kezia, come down just now, and you only tell your father that what you had done. And she was dragged down to where father was pacing to and fro, hands behind his back. So where she was taken down, the father was moving from one place to another and his hands were at the back. Now Kezia's father is full of tension. His important document has been lost, and Kezia had done that, and now Kezia will be scolded. Well, he said sharply. Mother explained. He stopped and stared at the child. Did you do that? No, she whispered. Mother, go up to her room and fetch down the damn thing. See that the child is put to bed this instant. So Kezia's father was referring to the cushion as a damn thing. He was very angry at the cushion also and at Kezia also, because it was a very important document that he had, and Kezia unknowingly and very innocently she had torn the papers. And when the father asked her again, she started stammering, and she said, no, I did not do anything. And the father ordered her to go to bed this instant. Crying too much to explain, she lay in the shadowed room watching evening light make a sad little pattern on the floor. Now she was lying down in the shadowed room. There was no light, okay, little light only, and there were shadows and sad little patterns were made, and she wanted to justify the action that she was innocent and she did not mean any harm, because she was just preparing a surprise gift, nothing else. Maybe accidentally she committed a disaster, but she did not want to do it. Then father came into the room with a ruler in his hand. Okay, he came with a scale to beat her up. I'm going to beat you for this, he said. Oh no, she screamed, hiding under the bedclothes. So the sheets, the top sheets, she was hiding under them, and she was screaming that no, please don't hit me. He pulled them aside. Sit up, he ordered, and hold out your hands. So he told her to take out her hands. You must be taught once and for all not to touch what does not belong to you. And she did not understand why the father was being so strict with her, because she just wanted to give him a surprise. But the father wanted to teach her a lesson so that in future she does not make the same mistake again. What was the mistake? She had drawn up an important document. So next time she should not touch up something which does not belong to her. This is a lesson that he wanted to give her. But it was for your birthday. Kezia tried to explain again that I was planning something for you because it was your birthday. I wanted to make a pin cushion for you. She was just explaining, but Kezia's father did not listen to her. Down came the ruler on her little pink palms. So her father hit her with a ruler on her palms. Hours later, when grandmother had wrapped her in a shawl and rocked her in the rocking chair, the child clung to her soft body. So she hugged her grandmother when they were on a rocking chair. And Kezia was so afraid. And after that, grandmother wrapped her in a shawl and was trying to pacify her because she was crying. What did God make fathers for? She sobbed. She was still angry, a little angry at her father. She hated her father. She was innocent. She did not understand what God made fathers for, because her father would hit her up, and she was so scared. So she was heartbroken. Here's a clean hanky, darling. Blow your nose. Go to sleep, pet. You'll forget all about it in the morning. I tried to explain to father, but he was too upset to listen tonight. So she gives him a clean hanky. She tells her, you just blow your nose. And she tells her that, tomorrow morning you'll just forget everything. Kezia tried to justify herself again. She said that she was trying to explain him the reason that why she tore the paper. But he was not ready to listen. And she did not understand that the father had hit her to teach her a lesson, so that she does not touch anything else that did not belong to her in future also. But the child never forgot. Next time she saw him, she quickly put both hands behind her back and a red color flew into her cheek. So the grandmother told her that you sleep, tomorrow morning you'll forget everything. But she never forgot. And the next time, then, whenever she saw her father next, she would always remember that he had hit her. So she would keep her hands behind her back so that he doesn't hit her again, and her cheeks would become red, okay, full of red color. The McDonalds lived next door. They had 5 children. Looking through a gap in the fence, the little girl saw them playing tag in the evening. The father with the baby Mao on his shoulders. 2 little girls hanging onto his coat pockets ran round and round the flower bed, shaking with laughter. Once she saw the boys turn the hose on him, and he tried to catch them, laughing all the time. And now here we see that little girl, innocent girl. She looked at her neighbors. Now in the neighborhood there was a family named McDonald's, and the McDonald's had 5 children. And Kezia would look at them through the fence. She would see that the family was having a lot of fun. They would play a game, tag, like what we play, catch. That is a game. And the children and the father would have a lot of fun. The youngest baby would sit on his shoulder. The 2 little daughters would be on his pockets. And the children were very attached to the father. They would love him. They would stick to him. They would run around the garden. One day she saw that the little sons of Mr. McDonald had opened the hose on him. Hose is the pipe, water pipe. And they would make him wet. And Mr. McDonald did not get angry. He was laughing. He tried to catch them. And this is something which was very odd for Kezia, because he had not seen this kind of father. Okay, and then that time she decided that there are different sorts of fathers, because for her the image of the father was different. Her father was very, very strict, and the father that she saw in her neighborhood was very different, loving, caring, laughing all the time, playing with the children. This is something that she had not imagined. Then it was she decided there were different sorts of father. So she decided that God made different kinds of father, and this father McDonald was different from her own father. Suddenly one day mother became in, and she and grandmother went to hospital. So one day what happened, her mother had fallen ill and she was taken to the hospital, and grandmother also went. The little girl was left alone in the house with Alice the cook. That was all right in the daytime, but while Alice was putting her to bed, she grew suddenly afraid. Now the whole time she was with Alice the cook, and she was okay being there, but the daytime was okay, but at night she was a little afraid. She started feeling scared. What will I do if I have a nightmare? She asked. I often have nightmares, and then Granny takes me into her bed. I can't stay in the dark. It all gets whispery. You just go to sleep, child, said Alice, pulling off her socks, and don't you scream and wake your poor pa. So she says that if I have nightmares, what to do? Nightmares are bad dreams, and at times she would get those bad dreams, and she would wake up. And now she wanted to ask what to do. So Alice told her that you keep on sleeping, don't scream, don't wake up your poor father. And the same old nightmare came. The butcher with a knife and a rope came nearer and nearer, smiling that dreadful smile, while she could not move, could only stand still, crying out, Grandma, Grandma. She woke up shivering to see father beside her bed, a candle in his hand. And the same old nightmare came, which comes every night. And this was a butcher with a knife and a rope who would come nearer and nearer. He was smiling a terrible smile, and whenever she would see that butcher, she could not move, only stand still, and she started crying, Grandma, Grandma. When she woke up shivering, she saw that the father was standing beside her bed, and he had a candle in his hand. What's the matter? He said. So he asked her, what happened? Oh, a butcher, a knife, I want Granny. And she started shouting that I want my grandmother, I saw a bad dream. And she only wants her grandmother. He blew out the candle, bent down, and caught up the child in his arms, carrying her along the passage to the big bedroom. So what he did, he took up her daughter, he lifted her up and took her to the bedroom. This shows that he is attached to her, he loves her, and whatever sort of attachment he has for her. He put away the paper, then carefully tucked up the child. And on the bed, there was a little newspaper kept. He removed the paper from there, and he tucked up the child. He lay down beside her, half asleep still with the butcher's smile all about her, it seemed. She crept close to him, snuggled her head under his arm, held tightly to his shirt. And she was still asleep, half asleep, but she could still remember the butcher's smile, and she thought that the butcher's smile was for her. She crept close to him. She went close to him, snuggled her head under his arm, and held tightly to his shirt. Now she wasn't scared of the father. She was only scared of the butcher, and with the father she was a little comfortable. Tired out, he slept before the little girl. A funny feeling came over her. So, as Kezia's father was tired, he slept before she did, and she had a funny feeling. What funny feeling? Poor father. Not so big after all, and with no one to look after him. He was harder than grandmother, but it was a nice hardness. And every day he had to work and was too tired to be a Mr. MacDonald. She had torn up all his beautiful writing. She stirred suddenly and sighed. Now here Kezia realizes her mistake and her affection towards her father also. She felt that her father was a poor man. He worked so hard. He was not as big now that she found earlier, and all the time he was so tired that he went off to sleep and did not play with her, because Mr. MacDonald would play with his children, but her father would not play with her. But now she realized that he used to get so tired, so he was not in a good state to play. And Kezia also felt that father's heart was full of love for her. She realizes that she had torn up all his important document, his beautiful writing, as she says, the speech she has written, and she felt bad about it. And because of that, she took a deep breath. She sighed. She realizes that she has done wrong, and that's why father had beaten her up. That's why he was so strict with her. What's the matter? Asked her father. Another dream? Oh, said the little girl. My head's on your heart. I can hear it going. What a big heart you've got, father dear. So she says that I can hear your heart going. Okay, and she complimented that her father has got a very big heart. So she's showing her love for her father, and she has realized that her father has also loved her.